While Emperor Palpatine initially stayed in the shadows in the first Star Wars film in 1997, he soon established himself as the main antagonist of the entire universe. After the prequel trilogy's release, Emperor Palpatine's character was reviewed as someone who spread limitless evil and wielded an insane amount of power, ranging from his deep-rooted knowledge of Sith Alchemy to his Force, Storm, and Persuasion powers. He captivated the audience with his wicked actions and his unsettling appearance. Today, we shall explore his physiological features and capabilities, and tell you about his presence across the Star Wars galaxy. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who is Emperor Palpatine and why is he so relevant? Also known as Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine was a human male who played an instrumental role in overthrowing the Republic and the Jedi Order from within, and he was single-handedly responsible for numerous events that defined the history of the galaxy. Born on Naboo in 82 BBY, Palpatine came across Sith Lord Darth Plagueis in 65 BBY and killed his father under his influence. He then assumed a new identity as Darth Sidious, while also representing Naboo in the Galactic Senate and successfully hiding his Sith identity from the Jedi. He rose to the ranks of Supreme Chancellor in the Senate while betraying Plagueis and secretly becoming the Dark Lord of the Sith on the other side. He then orchestrated the Clone Wars while heading the Galactic Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems at once. The Jedi High Council uncovered his secret after he revealed himself to Anakin, but they were unsuccessful in bringing him under their control after Anakin sided with Sidious. After Anakin's turn to the dark side, the Jedi Order soon fell, and Palpatine put an end to the Galactic Republic and declared himself the Emperor of the First Galactic Empire. He then assumed control over every single being in the galaxy, and several attempts to overthrow him were unsuccessful, at least until Starkiller sacrificed himself and inspired several senators to create the Alliance to restore the Republic. This led to the Galactic Civil War, and Palpatine's empire started crumbling, at least until they came up with a plan to destroy the Rebel Alliance in 4 ABY. He intended to turn Luke Skywalker over to the dark side, as he wanted to replace Anakin with his younger self. However, Luke refused to kill his father, and Anakin eventually redeemed himself by throwing Palpatine down the Death Star shaft and ending the Order of the Sith Lords once and for all. While Palpatine died, his Grand Admirals continued to fight, but the Empire soon saw its decline while the Rebel Alliance formed the New Republic. Palpatine used a rare Force technique to transfer his spirit into a cloned body, and he refused to accept his defeat or death. He most certainly influenced the political atmosphere across the galaxy and remains one of the most relevant figures in Star Wars history. Was he an alien disguised as a human during his time in the Senate? While working in the Galactic Senate, Palpatine would use the Force mask power to hide his true appearance. He came from the planet Naboo, and he was essentially a human. While Palpatine might have had evil intentions, he was only human, and his alien appearance was an intentional effort on his part to hide his real identity. His human body was decaying away, and the dark side had turned his eyes yellow, and his alien disguise was just an attempt to hide those features. What is his most powerful and lethal ability? The Sith enforced the dark side of the Force and had some unique techniques that could only be implemented by using the dark side. Emperor Palpatine was inarguably one of the strongest Sith in the galaxy and was more than capable of wielding the Force Storm. The Force Storm surpassed the dreadful Thought Bomb in terms of power and was more destructive than the Death Star. As the Dark Lord of the Sith, Palpatine was considered the most powerful practitioner of the dark side of the Force, and he first used the Force Storm in an issue of the Dark Empire comics. This storm had the ability to bend the mere fabric of space and time, and it could transport people or objects to any point in the galaxy. Additionally, it could wipe out all life on a planet, or even eradicate numerous planets at once. The Sith used an ancient technique known as the Thought Bomb to destroy planets, but several Sith Lords had to combine their powers to implement this. On the other hand, Palpatine could single-handedly conjure up a Force Storm, which is quite a testament to his powers. Before Palpatine, a Sith Lord had created a Force Storm, but he needed an artifact to create it, while Palpatine could easily conjure them without assistance. While this lethal storm could cause large-scale destruction, it required a lot of concentration and was quite dangerous to the conjurer. Palpatine had to focus his entire attention on the Force Storm to control it, or risk destroying everything in his vicinity. He once lost control over the storm during a fight with Leia and Luke, and the storm destroyed Palpatine and his flagship. While he recovered from his attack, he had to tread with caution while using this immensely lethal Force ability that had the power to alter time and space. Exploring his deep-rooted knowledge of Sith alchemy. While humans have little success with alchemy, it's a concept that has been around forever and has been written into fictional worlds, from stories about people's quest to attain the elixir of life to attempts to turn common metals into gold and silver. Alchemy referred to the art and science of transforming objects, and Emperor Palpatine was highly knowledgeable on this subject. He was adept at Sith alchemy and often used it to create custom breeds of Rancor. He had even written a book, The Creation of Monsters, that talked about using alchemy to create beasts. He had insane force persuasion powers, while the Jedi popularly used their mind trick to brainwash their targets into performing certain actions. Emperor Palpatine wielded a far more powerful version of the same trick. He used the dark side of the Force to persuade his opponents to do just about anything, even if they subconsciously did not wish to do it. On a serious note, he could use this power to dominate his target's entire being by taking complete control over their body and actions. Emperor Palpatine and his gift of foresight. Emperor Palpatine often said, "Everything is proceeding as foreseen," which suggests that he had the gift of foresight. While foresight is a typical power seen among several Jedi and Sith, Palpatine's foresight was on a different level of accuracy, and he could predict large-scale events set in the distant future. His gift of foresight also surpassed that of the Jedi Council members, enabling him to carefully plan wars and strategies that would unfold several years later. This aided him in his rise to power and allowed him to plan the demise of the rebellion at Endor. While his foresight failed him in a few instances and eventually led to his death, it mostly helped him lay out elaborate schemes and wield unimaginable levels of power.
You will be destroyed.
His power of Force Lightning explained. While Force Lightning is a common power among the Sith, Emperor Palpatine's mastery over this power deserves special attention. Force Lightning is quite a rare power in itself, but several Force-sensitive beings have been shown using it across the films, which has led to the audience to believe that it is one of the more common Force powers. Palpatine had displayed tremendous strength while wielding this power, and he could manipulate his Force Lightning in a way that no one else could even fathom. He would trap several adversaries in a chain reaction triggered by Force Lightning, and he could even pinpoint the lightning at a particular internal system in a starship to destroy it and bring it down. Did he have telepathic and mind-controlling powers? Emperor Palpatine could use the Force to read someone's mind, or even appear in front of them and have a full-blown conversation at times. While this trick required extreme mastery over the Force, Palpatine used it to contact Darth Vader from light years away with relative ease. Besides displaying such mastery over telepathy, Emperor Palpatine could sense others' feelings and emotions, no matter how much they tried to hide these feelings from him. His mind-control powers were on another level, and while he could sense others' thoughts, he also had the ability to conceal his own thoughts and feelings from his opponents. Besides this, Palpatine had once clouded the entire Jedi Council's senses and operated in stealth to get the better of them, while they remained oblivious to his schemes and thoughts. This is quite a commendable feat, as Palpatine even managed to shield his thoughts from the likes of Yoda. How did Emperor Palpatine master Sith magic? Sith magic has been around for several hundred years, and it consists of several practices and rituals that need to be studied in detail to attain mastery over it. After Sith magic lost its appeal, Emperor Palpatine rediscovered it and started studying it in order to incorporate this lost art into his personal life. He was seen using the ancient rituals of Sith magic to inspect his food and drinks to ensure no one had poisoned them. Besides rituals, he also learned certain spells, incantations, and the Balak language to hex his opponents. In one instance, Palpatine managed to use Sith magic against Master Yoda and put a hex on him during a fight against the spirit of Darth Bane. Did he have the power of flight? Emperor Palpatine seems to have the power of flight as a byproduct of his Force powers. He could use the Force to fly and float across battlegrounds to attack an opponent, or even retreat and make a quick escape. He was never seen using this power to fly into space, but one can assume that if anyone could use the dark side of the Force to fly around space, it would be the mighty Emperor Palpatine. Is Rey really his granddaughter? After Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi established that Rey was a nobody, fans did not expect that the creators would eventually drop a bomb and reveal that she was Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter. Throughout his story arc, Emperor Palpatine strived to attain absolute power and immortality. He desired to rule the galaxy forever, and he came to the conclusion that he might attain immortality by preserving his essence and transferring it to someone else's body. He soon fixated on cloning as a means to attain immortality, and his cult, the Sith Eternal, then started researching Kaminoan cloning on the planet of Exegol. Exegol was considered a secret Sith planet, and Palpatine's genetics were successfully used to create several clones in Exegol. One of the very first clones, Dathan, did share Palpatine's looks, but lacked his Force abilities and powers. While Palpatine viewed Dathan as a son, he was considered to be an abomination due to his lack of powers. However, he was not exiled from Exegol, as Palpatine believed that there was a chance that Dathan might reproduce one day and create a child who wielded Force powers. Palpatine wanted to further his bloodline, and Dathan's child was his only hope of having a descendant who shared his blood. While Dathan was allowed to live on Exegol, he desired a normal life and escaped on a ship. He settled on Coke Frost and started working as an engineer, leaving his Sith past behind and hoping to live far away from the darkness of his father's powers. He later fell in love with a woman named Miramir, and the two got married and conceived a child in 15 ABY. This child turned out to be Rey, who did turn out to be Force sensitive, just like Palpatine had hoped several years ago. In this manner, Rey was Palpatine's granddaughter, and her father tried his best to protect her from being sucked into Palpatine's evil plans. He left Rey with Unkar Plutt on Jakku, but this could not keep Palpatine away as the Dark Lord finally located Rey. Palpatine hoped to rise to power once again by using Rey's body as a vessel, but Rey turned down this offer and ultimately defeated him. Is Emperor Palpatine immortal? Both the Jedi and the Sith strive to attain immortality and used different ways to reach the same end goal. While the Jedi underwent training to retain their consciousness after dying, Sith lords such as Darth Plagueis manipulated midichlorians to seek immortality. Emperor Palpatine went down a different path and transferred his spirit into a cloned body in order to continue existing even after his physical death. As he fell into the reactor core of the second Death Star, Palpatine transferred his spirit to his clone and ensured they lived on. He later approached his granddaughter, Rey, and tried to manipulate her into killing him, as this action would allow him to possess Rey's body and prolong his existence. When this did not work, Palpatine's clone body sought power by extracting Rey and Ben Solo's power from a dyad in the Force. He briefly became stronger, and the dyad energy enabled him to regrow his fingers and regain his yellow irises. However, Rey summoned the strength of the past Jedis to get rid of Palpatine, and his hopes of attaining immortality were crushed when Rey turned his power against him and destroyed him once and for all. Marvelous verdict. To sum it up, Emperor Palpatine is inarguably one of the most powerful adversaries in the Star Wars universe, and his character has truly contributed to the franchise's popularity. He has one of the most interesting story arcs in the galaxy, ranging from his time in the Galactic Senate to his journey to becoming Emperor Palpatine and ruling over the Sith Lords. His power also knows no bounds, and even the most potent Force users feared him and tried to stay out of his way. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
There is no mercy.